Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll try to find out about one of the most important PTE reading question type, that is reorder paragraph. In your PTE test, in a reading section, there will be 5 question types. There are 2 multiple choice questions. One is single answer, another one is multiple answer. 2 fill in the blanks questions. One is for reading, another one is reading and writing. And in the middle, you will have reorder paragraph. Now, I'm sure you have learned about reorder paragraph when you were a kid or you were doing high schools. It's a task where you will be given a paragraph that is not in the right order, and you have to put it into the right order. That's how we have done reorder paragraph, and that's basically the same thing with PTE reorder paragraph. However, there are of course some exam related specific information that we need to know, and there are some exam related information marking criteria that we all need to have in our mind. Now, I know when you are or anyone is talking about a reorder paragraph, we normally talk about question bank and whether we're gonna get the question common from the question bank. Well, if you decide to prepare yourself just by relying on question bank, I can't stop you from that. I can't blame you from that. But I always think that you should have some sort of backup. So take a look at this video to find out what strategies I follow and I teach my students so that they can do well with their reorder paragraph, even if the question is coming out of their known boundary. Right? So let's jump into it. Now, PTE academic reading section, as we have just discussed, has 5 question types. Reorder paragraph is one of them. In this video, we will cover task description, marking criteria, easy to follow approach, and a few demonstration. Now let's learn about the task description. This is from Pearson's official guide. It says reorder paragraphs is a reading task which tests how well you can follow the organization of an academic text and understand how it is joined together. So it is actually testing whether you understand how an academic text is organized. That is, whether you know how academic writing is being done, and whether you understand how they are joined together. So it says you will see instructions and 2 panels. The one on the left has some sentences in the wrong order and the other is empty. Drag the sentences to the empty panel, putting them in the right order. This task tests your reading skill. In short, the length of the text for reorder paragraph will be 50 to 110 words. Number of text boxes to reorder will be between 4 to 5. Number of these tasks in each test will be between 2 to 3. And total time for all the reading tasks is 32 to 41 minutes. Now you might remember that in your reading test, it is the first task type where the section where you will get a total number of questions and total time. You will get between 15 to 20 questions, and for that you will be given 32 to 41 minutes. That will mean you will have to manage your own time. You have to finish the question within a time that you think is appropriate, or you have pre-prepared for that, and you need to click next right when you finish that. And time you should allocate for each reorder paragraph is between 2 to 2.5 minutes. It's a very common sense. If you think of it, 15 questions, if you get 32 minutes for 15 questions, for example, you have around a bit over 2 minutes for each question. So it is important that you manage your time. Next this is the exam screen. As you can see, there are the jumbled paragraph here in the left hand side box. you need to use your mouse, or you can use your mouse to drag them into the position that you think is right. Once you drag them into the right hand side box, you can again use your mouse to drag them up and down. Now you can also use these two buttons to bring them. So if you click on, let's say, this option and you clicked on this right arrow, it will come to the right box. Then you can click it again to choose it and use up or down arrow to rearrange it based on your answer. You will also have a time count on this side. This is the upper right hand corner, and you will have next button at the lower right hand side corner of your screen. It is important that when you actually finish answering the question, you click next straight away without wasting any time. So the skills tested for this question type is following a logical or chronological sequence. It is understandable because it is a reordering paragraph. If you can follow them logically, you actually get your answer correct. Next, identifying supporting points or examples. It is very important that you can identify supporting points and examples, because they of course follow the logic from the first sentence. Next is identifying relationships in the text. Obviously, you are trying to reorder or rearrange them. You have to understand the relationship, what kind of sentence can come after what kind of sentence. Of course, there is a understanding of academic vocabulary as well. The reason is very simple. In your PTE test, in reorder paragraph, there will be the relationships that you are going to define between the sentences will be by using the words. So it is important that you understand their meaning properly, not only their literal meaning, but also the meaning in a situation. So that comes to the next bit, says inferring the meaning of unfamiliar words. Even if you do not understand the meaning of a particular word, you can look at these words around it and you can read the sentence and you need to infer something from that particular word. Comprehending abstract and concrete information. Sometimes informations are very concrete, they're straightforward. Sometimes they are linked but not straightforward. You have to come with an inference, or you have to come up with your own interpretation. That's what is tested in this question type. For marking criteria, you do not get a mark for the whole paragraph. You get a mark for one correct adjacent pair. So very simple, you get a mark for pair. Let's say your question has a sequence like this: A, B, C, D. The score here is not 4 marks but 3. AB is one pair, that's 1 mark. BC is another pair, that's 2 marks. CD is another pair, that's 3 marks. That actually means even if you do not place the introduction and conclusion into the right order, you can still secure some mark. Let's say in your answer you have said C and D are your first 2 sentences and A and B are your second 2 sentences. So you have got C and D pair correct, so you got 1 mark for that. And you have got A and B pair correct, you have got another mark for that. However, your pair between D and A is of course not correct, so you did not get a score for that. You got 2 out of 3. This is how the scoring will go on. Now, where the score goes from this question type, communicative skill goes only to reading, and it does not contribute to any of the enabling skills, not in grammar, fluency, pronunciation, spelling, vocab, or written discourse. And the mark from this question, as I said, only goes to reading. The total contribution in your reading question type from this question is around 8 to 10%. Now, strategies will have two ways of doing it. Actually, it's one way, we achieve it in different ways. So first and foremost, we identify the introduction. It is very important that we identify the introduction, because once we identify the introduction, then we can use the clues on that introductory sentence to find out the next pair or pairs. Now, in order to find out introduction, you first need to find out what cannot be my introduction. Now, it is very simple for you to think that, hey, I can only find out introduction. But if you do not go through the elimination process of eliminating what are the introductory sentences, you will end up spending a lot of time reading the sentences as well as trying to understand their meaning and the relationship. So, in order to get the right answer at the very shortest possible time, I always recommend that students get rid of the sentences that cannot be introduction. Now, if you are wondering what cannot be introduction, let's look at the next slide. Right, so as we now know that we need to find a clue of what cannot be my introduction, let's find out what those clues are. One of the clue is use a pronoun as the subject of the sentence. Now, let me clarify. And the pronouns are the replacements of nouns, right? Like using he or she or maybe it or they or these, right? These are the pronoun words. They actually mean there was a sentence before it which contained the noun, which these words or these pronouns are referring to. So unless the pronoun is used as just as an part of the sentence where the verb, where the subject is after that, the pronouns cannot be your introduction. Let's say the sentence was this: it is hard to imagine that Leonardo da Vinci was dyslexic. Hopefully my dyslexic spelling is correct. Terrible at spelling. Now here the subject is not it. Subject is actually Leonardo da Vinci, and there is a verb for that as well, and there is an object as well. So basically this is the main part of the sentence here. It is not important. That's why this sentence can be introduction. However, if the sentence started like that, it was very important to him. Here, as you can see, the sentence started with it. This cannot be your introduction because there is nothing else that I can say that is the subject. In this case, in this sentence, it is the subject. So it cannot be your introduction. Next is if a sentence has a discourse marker with a comma, it is very important to understand if a sentence has a discourse markers means joiners like, moreover, however, while, when, where, all those joiners, they are the discourse markers. If the sentence starts with them and a comma, that is not your introduction. However, if the sentence starts with them and there is no comma, there is a continuity, right? That means that can be your introduction, because here, however or moreover has not been used to show that there was a sentence before that. It rather was used more to prove that, more to draw your attention. So if I just say, however good his result is Jack will not get into MIT. Now here, the most important part is Jack will not get into MIT. However good he is. That however good his result is just to draw your attention rather than being the main part of the sentence. Right, and if you have a specific article with the same subject, non-specific articles will be your priority. Let's say one of your sentences starts with a book, another one starts with the book, or the keyword is a book, and another one is the book. Of course, a book will come first and the book will come second. The reason is a or an is unspecified or non-specific article, whereas the or the, however you want to pronounce it, remember there is a rule for that though, it will be your second sentence. Right, let's take a look. Now let's look at this question. So if I look at this question, I'm trying to identify my introduction very fast, right? I don't have much time, remember, in the exam. So let's say these wingless termites will then go on. These wingless termites. So these is a pronoun. So this cannot be my introduction. Next, as they mature beneath the soil, as they mature. Now there are two indicators that it is not your introduction. One is as, of course, this is a joiner. And also another one is they. I mean, who? Who are they? They develop wings. Again, there is they. Question, I guess, I think you know the question, who, right? So this is not my introduction. Like many insects, termites display. Seems like this can be my introduction. So I just keep it here for the time being for reconsidering later on. And then let's look at the next one. Once out in the open air, mating takes place as they fly. Again, who are these they? Right? So this is not your introduction. After this, that means something happened before that. Cannot be your introduction. Seems like even without reading it right or reading it in full, I know this is my sentence one or this is my introduction. Right. We'll definitely come back and do this one later on, but at the moment, just understand how I figured out the introduction. So just a quick recap. The first sentence, it is starting with this pronoun these. Second sentence is starting with as and as well as they and as well as they here. And the third sentence says like many insects, termites display. We have a noun here, termites. So this seems like your introductory sentence, but I wasn't sure, so I went to the next one. Once out in the open air, mating takes place as they. This they again wasn't defined. I couldn't find who that they is, so it is not also my introduction. And the next one is after this. You can clearly see that cannot be the introduction. Now, I'm not saying that this is a foolproof method. I cannot say that it will work every time. You have to be realistic. Nothing works every time, especially when it comes to the reading section. However, this definitely helps. This definitely makes your life much easier. It definitely helps you to find out that first sentence that will be your indicator to the next sentence or the right pair. Let's look at how we can find out the right pair. Now, to find out the right pair, it is important that you understand the relationship between sentences. You create sequences that are meaningful. You also find a final answer that is logical in terms of meaning as well as the structure of the paragraph. What do I mean by all of them? You will see. Now, first rule of relationship is object-subject method. Object of the first sentence almost always is the subject of the second sentence. Remember the word, I cannot stress that enough, almost always. Right, like I said, keywords of the first sentence that is in the place of object will become the subject of the next sentence. So remember this question. In this question we figured out this was our introduction, in fact, right? So let's find out if this was our introduction. Let's read it this time. Like many insects, termites display a fixed life cycle in which they live underground, fly and lay eggs at different stages of their existence. So you can see termites display a fixed life cycle. Number one indicator, they live underground, they fly, lay eggs. So their life cycle is underground to fly to laying egg at different stages of their life cycle. Now let's see what can be my next sentence. So let's look at the first one. These wingless termites will then go on So I did not go through any stages of their life. So this cannot be my next sentence. As they mature beneath the soil. So here comes the indicator. So understand this. The object here is, where do they live? They live underground. So this is in the position of the object, and you can see the next indicator, as they mature beneath the soil. Beneath, of course, this is part of underground. So you can understand this is the next sentence of the pair. Let's read it, right? As they mature beneath the soil, they develop wings in preparation for the time when they will emerge from their colony. So what do? They develop wings, right? So again, go to the first one. It says these winglets termites. So they have already developed wings in this sentence. So this cannot come after that. Wingless thing hasn't happened yet. So let's look at 4 or 5. Once out in open air, mating takes place as they fly in swarms. Actually, usually for about 40 minutes. Now, they have wings. So this cannot go with that because we are talking about wingless. So this is possibility. Let's look at that. That says after this, the termites will land and lose their wings. So it seems like they are losing wings here. This is the object. And this is giving me subject here, right? So I can see that they are a pair. They can be in any position, right? So this two is a pair. Now I need to figure out, where does this one go? Does it go after them or does it come in the middle? Right. So it says here, it says they fly in swarms. Of course, they have, in this sentence, we know that they have developed wings. So flying is a function of having wings, of course. And then what do? They mate. That means they do their rituals of mating, right? So actually seems like this will definitely come before this one, because here they're losing wings and here they're being wingless. That means this sentence is the only place where I can find their function of flying, right? So this will be my number 3, which will mean this is number 4, and of course this is number 5. So if I have to reorder them, first I used my elimination technique to find that introduction is number C. I found a proper keyword there, which is the object underground, and I found in number B we have something called beneath the soil. That proves that it is the subject of that object. And in this sentence I found wings, which gives me functionality of flying at sentence number D. And after the flying, I can see that they land and lose their wings. So I'm not sure by this sentence itself whether it comes after that, but I'm pretty sure number A will come after number E, because they lose their wings at number E, and in number A they are wingless. This is how I do my pairing. Right, let's see. The next one is use articles to your advantage. Now, I already said using articles can be like if there is no article at all for the subject, it goes first. If there is an article with A or N, that is non-specific article, it goes second. If there is an article that comes with the specific subject, there's an article there is a specific article. If there is a specific article which comes with the same subject, that comes at number 3. If that article comes within the quotation mark or with a pronoun, that is your last position. Let's take a look at the same sentence. So if I look at here, these wingless termites, so you could have said, hey, there is a noun here. Why didn't you take it? Because these wingless termite tells me that there is an article of there's no article, but subject is coming up with this pronoun to make it very, very specific. Right, next is other rules can be look for names. Full name will always come before first or last name or the short form of the name. Look for creator and creation. Past will go to present, problem, and then solution, idea, and then example, question, and then answer. There are different types of paragraphs that can also give you some sort of idea. If it is a descriptive type of paragraph, it will come up with an introduction where you will find the subject in the introduction or the topic. Right, you find about the description of that topic or definition in the second sentence, and further description of the third sentence. It can be, and there can be an example, there can be a conclusion as well. If the paragraph type is problem solution paragraph, you simply, the topic sentence will come up with a problem. It will give you some reason, followed by example, followed by solution. And then you have that chronological type of paragraph where the subject will come up with a timeline. As long as the subject is same, follow the timeline from the beginning to the end. If the subject changes, the timeline will go to the end, even if the timeline is in the middle. To identify the concluding sentence, most of the time it concludes the topic. Sometimes it introduces a new topic. Right, let's do some practices. Let's take a look at that. It says, if the lake is to be saved. If the lake, we do not know which lake, and also it starts with a conditional joiner, if, so that is not my introduction. Hopefully, comma, you can understand hopefully is a discourse marker and it has comma right after that. Is not my introduction. The surface area of one recently researched lake in Asia has decreased by over 60% and it might disappear completely. Seems like a very good candidate for my introduction. Let's keep it like this. Let's make a circle here. In this case, the crisis is caused. Which case? We do not know. It is well known that a number of world's major lakes are decreasing in size as a result of climate change. Seems like this is my introduction. So let's put it at number A. Why? Even though it started with it, it is one of those sentences. Take a look. Of the world's major lakes, this is the subject, are decreasing, this is the verb area, in size as a result of climate change. So we understand that this is about climate change, this paragraph. Let's take a look at something else. So it says they are decreasing. So this is my key here. The surface area of one recently researched lake in Asia has decreased by over 60%. So remember I said object subject thing, take a look. I'm saying it is decreasing and it has decreased actually by about 60%, over 60%. So this is my next one. In this case, I'm not sure which one to go next. Let's take a look. In this case, the crisis caused not just by climate change, but by new farming projects which need increased quantities of water. Now, it can be as the size has decreased by over 60%, that means definitely the water is going somewhere, right? So it can be, let's take a look at next one to determine. Hopefully, a greater awareness of water management may help to achieve a better balance between water supply and demand. Seems like this is kind of a solution. So this is more of a problem solution type of paragraph. So this cannot be my next sentence. This most likely is going to be my conclusion. So let's think that it may be my number 5. I'm still not sure, right? Let's put a question mark here. If the lake is to be saved, therefore, the authorities need to look at plans to reduce amount of water used in the region. Seems like this is the solution, perfect solution, that we need, in order to save the lake, we need to reduce the water consumption. So this may be coming before this one. I'm not going to say maybe, I'm 100% certain that it is coming before this one. That actually keeps this one as my number 3, which makes sense because we already introduced climate change in the first sentence, so it is here. Also, I said that I also said that it has been decreasing. So if it has been decreasing, where is it going? It is going to the increased use of farming project. So my answer will be at the end number E, followed by number C, followed by number D, followed by number A, followed by number B. Let's do the next one. Let's take a look. The force of waves impact traveled across every ocean range from the Gulf. The force, the force of wave. What wave? What force? The is an indicator here that this may not be my introduction. Within minutes of this collision, what collision? A giant tsunami was triggered. Seems like that is not my introduction as well. Models measuring the scale of destruction reveal catastrophic outcome for the planet. Models measuring the scale of destruction. What scale of destruction again? The indicator is this, the. So that is not my introduction either. Seems like even without reading, I can understand that this is my introduction. The study of human prehistory suggests the mass extinction of dinosaurs was a direct consequence of a giant asteroid crashing to Earth off the coast of Mexico. Seems like this is actually my introduction. So I'm saying the study of human prehistory suggests that the mass extinction of dinosaur was a direct consequence of a giant asteroid crashing. Asteroid crashed into the Earth off the coast of Mexico. Now I can understand what happened. The force of waves impact traveled across every ocean. So this coast of Mexico, remember, introduced here, and it is in here. So this is the relationship. Gulf of Mexico. Right, so I think this is the next one. Within minutes of this collision, a giant tsunami was triggered, resulting in marine animal being swept far inland. Seems like this can come after that as well. What to do? Now understand, the giant asteroid crashing on to the Earth, right? And it says within minute. So I don't still know that where is this wave coming from. It says crashing, right? The crashing does not necessarily mean it has wave. It can be just crashing and bursting, right? So This gives me more clarity, so I will not use it as my second sentence. I will use this one as my second sentence because I said I know what happened after this crash or after this collision happened, right? I can see a giant tsunami occurred, right? And then I can say, all right, this tsunami's wave, there it is. It goes in here. And models measuring the scale of destruction reveal catastrophic outcome for the planet, with the sun blocked out by particles and chemical reactions turning the oceans acidic. Seems like this is a perfect conclusion, giving us a result of what happened. So my answer will be E, B, A, and C. Next, let's see. As your network progresses, check in regularly with your members. Seems like you have this joiner and then this one, and nothing is clear. That's not my introduction. Clearly mention your targets within the statement. What statement? Not my introduction. Once this is planned out, what is planned out? Not my introduction. To build your network, begin by summarizing what is the aim, what it aims to achieve in a clear and concise mission statement. Seems like I found my introductory sentence, so let's keep it in the consideration. Network building is a continual process which helps you find support from people in your industry. Seems like this is a more like my introductory statement because it says it clearly lays out the subject. See, network building or building network has no article before it. It has no pronoun in it or no discourse marker. So this is my introduction. And it says network building is a continual process which helps you find support from people in your industry. So to build network, begin by summarizing what it aims to achieve in a clear and concise mission statement. So you are saying that it helps you in your industry, right? And network building. So you have to tell me what to do to build a network. So this is the next sentence. Network building, build a network. So this is number 2. You have to begin by summarizing what it aims to achieve in a clear and concise mission statement. Right. Clearly mention your targets within the statement. So mission statement, 2, statement. So this seems like number 3, and explain how you aim to achieve them in a network roadmap. So you have now got the statement and you explained how you aim to achieve it. As your network progresses, you just laid out the plan. You still don't have any network. So I guess this comes, let's read this one. Once this is planned out, invite new members to. So this is planned out. So actually explain how you aim. This is the plan, right? So once this is planned out. So this is number 4, making it my conclusion. So my answer is E, D, B, C, A. Right. I hope these tricks and tips and the practices and demonstrations helped you. I strongly recommend that before starting to cram the whole question bank, which has hundreds of questions, give it a try. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find out most of the pairs correct. Once you do, answer question banks can be used support, but do not entirely depend on it. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more tricks and tips and up-to-date PTE news and PTE updates. Thank you.